Hi, this is Pastor Carl. If you've got a couple minutes, I'd like to share some thoughts with you about mockingbirds. Where I'm sitting right now in my home office is where I usually do my Bible study and my preparation for sermons and also prayer meetings. Right in front of me is a window to the outside, and while I am preparing my spiritual thoughts, I love looking at nature and the things that God has made out there. Sometimes there are squirrels that I see out in the yard that are looking for nuts, maybe to bury them, or maybe ones that they have buried before and are looking to dig up. I also see a number of different birds. I have a hummingbird feeder that is out there that I really enjoy seeing the hummingbirds coming and getting the nectar. We have sparrows and wrens and cardinals at different times, that flash of red as they come into the holly bushes outside. But I also see sometimes where there's mockingbirds. And I love watching them, the flash of white on their wings. And yes, I can hear them singing as well. And I've heard some ministers use that as an illustration about how we shouldn't be copying others, but only Jesus. And that too often we don't have our own song, that we just copy other people. And while there may be some truth in that, when I look at the mockingbird, I try to find something positive about it instead of something negative. And as I've been thinking about the mockingbird, it reminded me of a passage in the book of 1 Corinthians. And so I'm going to read that, 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 19 through 23. And I'm reading from the New King James Version. The Apostle Paul says this, "For though I am free from all men, I have made myself a servant to all, that I might win the more. And to the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might win Jews. To those who are under the law, as under the law, that I might win those who are under the law. To those who are without law, as without law, not being without law toward God, but under law toward Christ, that I might win those who are without law. To the weak I became as weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. Now this I do for the gospel's sake, that I may be partaker of it with you." Now, when the Apostle Paul is saying this, what he's not saying is, I have become a sinner in all different ways in order to reach the sinners who are doing that. I think he would have very much spoken against that and taught against that. But what he is saying instead is that as Christians, it is our duty to try to pass barriers. It should be part of our DNA through the gospel to try to learn the languages or the songs of those around us, to learn their culture, to understand them, to try as far as possible to build relationships and be like those around us. Again, not compromising principle and not being disobedient to God, but just being nice and building relationships for one purpose, and that is to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. That may be in spoken word, or it just might be in our actions. It might be in just how we treat other people. But whatever it is, we should be reaching out to those around us in a way that they can understand. So when I think about this principle, I think about the mockingbird. No, it doesn't have its own song. Instead, it has gone through the process of learning the songs of those around it. I think that there's a lesson in here that Paul would agree with, that as Christians, we should be learning those around us and how to speak in a way that they will understand. Not just to fit in, but so that we might share the gospel.